This Day in Philly Sports History is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History, Part 2. I usually don't do this, but in light of recent events, I felt the need to come on here and give my 2 cents on LeBron James choosing Philly, 2-year, $8 million contract. I think there's a player option for the second year or whatever, but we'll worry about that next year. This is strictly about this year. And I think let's start with the most basic surface level. This is a good basketball move for the Sixers. They had a need. They needed a 4, essentially. They needed, or 3.5, however you want to word it. They needed that. This is the piece that they needed to play along with the rest of these guys. So your starting lineup now is Tyrese, VJ, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid, who by all accounts, everybody's saying it's the healthiest he was going into an offseason, and hopefully he's been putting in the work. But from a pure basketball perspective, this is a great move. And I'm sorry if this is choppy. I'm still kind of in shock. I just finished up work. My phone has been blowing up, but I felt the need to kind of talk through this with all of you. But I do. I think from a basketball standpoint, this is great. We went from a month ago being, are we a play-in team? What does the new lottery rules, what does that mean for the Sixers? Are they going to waste the next 2 years of Tyrese and VJ while they wait for Joel and Paul George's contracts, to all of a sudden legitimate, not just Eastern Conference contenders, but NBA championship contenders for the first time since 1983. And I know they went to the finals in 2001, but that was lightning in a bottle. They didn't really have a legitimate shot against the Lakers in a 7-game series. This is different. They are legitimate title contenders for the first time in my memory. Yes, I was born in 83, but I was not old enough to remember any of it. So I'm thrilled. Like I said, as a Sixers fan, you should be happy right now. This is, I'm stunned still. I'm absolutely stunned. But on the court, this is awesome. Now, yes, there's a lot of guys who are capable of scoring the basketball, but that is what Nick Nurse is going to get paid for. Nick Nurse is going to earn his money. Is LeBron going to play 82 games? No. Is Joe going to play 82 games? No. So you work the rotations and everything like that. But I do think they need to play enough together in order to not go into the playoffs, not being in a rhythm and everything. And again, I trust Nick Nurse, who also has a championship pedigree, to do that. And then speaking of that championship pedigree, I've talked about this numerous times here. This is, there's a stench of losing in this locker room, essentially since that 1983 team. Maybe a couple years after, they were fine as they got older, but at least since 1986, when they traded the number 1 pick and traded Moses Malone, there has been a losing stench in this locker room. How do you fix that? Well, you open up some windows and you bring in some air fresheners, and those air fresheners are Jaylen Brown, who has a championship pedigree, LeBron James, who has a championship pedigree. Tyrese Maxey's still young enough, so is VJ, that they're going to be able to absorb that. And say what you want about LeBron, never have been. If he wins this championship, things might change a little bit, but never the biggest LeBron fan. Nothing against him. I think he's a great player. I just, the whole GOAT debates and everything, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. But what he does is his work ethic. And to be 42 years old playing at the level he's playing, the man works. So that's going to carry over to guys like VJ, guys like Tyrese, LeBaron Philon. That is going to carry over and help those guys. And if you have them soaking up the winningness and the dedication and the hard work those guys are doing, it's going to go squarely on Joe. Joe is going to have to work hard, harder than he's ever worked. And I think he's in a spot in his career where I think he's focused on legacy. And what better legacy than to complete the process? And in order to complete the process, you're going to have to work harder than you ever have. I think Joe, a lot's going to come down to him. But I mean, from a basketball perspective, I love this. Absolutely love it. And I do think it's essentially we're completing the process here. If this doesn't work out, then that's going to be Joe's legacy. He was the guy that they built around and he could never get it done. You still got to play the games on the court and everything like that. Knicks are still going to be hungry, especially now. But I think you're legitimately one of the top 3, 4, 5 teams in the NBA now. And LeBron's not going to have to be the LeBron from 10 and 12 years ago because they have enough guys that shoulder the load. And I don't think LeBron is the guy from 10 to 12 years ago. So we don't need that. We need that vet leader to come in, eat some minutes. If you need somebody to grab a rebound, rebound, facilitate the fast break, and be a mentor to these young guys. Teach them the winning culture, the winning ways. Get that stench of losing out of there. And before I sign off on this, I do want to say hats off and kudos to Mike Gansey. Yes, I'm sure there is a lot of Bob Myers fingerprints all over this, but like I said, 1 month ago, we were worried about playing tournaments and lottery picks. And now we're championship contenders. So to me, that just shows, and I talked about it a few weeks ago when they signed him. Like, I didn't know much about him, but there was the sense around him that he would be aggressive. And I'll be goddamn if he has not been aggressive. Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, and I've told you before, I'd like Philon. I watched him a lot because I bet on Alabama a lot. So I watched a lot of those games. I think that's a good pick too. So to me, it also, not to kind of rain on the parade and bring up some old stuff here, but kind of goes to show just how, I know a lot of people said, oh, Daryl Morey, he's not that bad. Well, was he that good? This dude has been the GM for a month, 5 weeks, and took them from borderline play-in team to NBA championship contenders. So I will say, if you haven't done so yet, one of the first things I just saw on Twitter when I logged on, LeBron made the announcement on his Instagram behind Meek Mill, Dreams and Nightmares. Incredible. Like, I'm ready to run through a wall right now. But again, and I think if you're a Sixers fan, you have to be happy. I think what you need to do as a Sixers fan, because a lot of us did not like LeBron. And my not liking LeBron goes back to the original decision when I'm taking my talents to South Beach. But I think a lot of that was rooted in jealousy, that he wasn't on our team. Now, am I going to say LeBron's the GOAT? No, not going to say that. If he wins championship, my tune might change. I'm not going to lie, but I'm a Sixers fan first. And as somebody who's watched LeBron James for 20 whatever years, this is what this team needed. Again, from a basketball perspective, yes, but even from like a culture perspective. And because you can say what you want about LeBron, but he's won a championship every single stop he's been at. I guess minus the first stop in Cleveland, but he took a team of YMCA rec players to the finals. So does this guarantee us a championship? No. I mean, there's still questions about how many games will LeBron play. There's a question about Joe's health. How will all of these guys who are scorers play off of each other? So that is Nick Nurse's job. I trust that Nick Nurse is going to do that. But listen, you have to be happy going into the weekend right now that LeBron James chose the Sixers after all of the back and forth and all the Kalshi odds and this, that, and the other. At the end, I have a feeling it was always Philly. I have a feeling if it was Cleveland, he would have already announced he was going back home. I think if it was Miami, probably would have already heard too. I think he always knew it was going to be Philly or he was going to retire. And I wouldn't have been in the least bit surprised if he retired if the Sixers didn't get Jaylen Brown. So again, kudos to Mike Gansey for making that move to even getting us into the conversation. I do feel like I'm rambling now because I'm so pumped up, but had to get on here, give you my feelings on this. But again, if you are a Sixers fan, you have to be happy about this. And I know there's going to be a pocket of people who say, oh, well, I never liked LeBron and this, that, and the other. And listen, everything you say is true. I'm on a text chain where a guy was saying, oh, he just goes and ring chasing this, that, and the other, whoring himself out. That's true. I can't argue with any of that. But as a Sixers fan who has never seen them win I guess they've won in my lifetime, but never seen them in my old enough to be a fandom, as somebody who suffered through Clarence Weatherspoon, Sharon Wright, trading Charles Barkley for Tim Perry, Jeff Hornacek, and Andrew Lang. Again, Clarence Weatherspoon, and I feel bad because I pick on him all the time, but broke my heart. The Sean Bradleys of the world, the guys they tried to pair up past their prime, Glenn Robinson, Chris Webber with Allen Iverson, the end of the Iverson era, and then being stuck in NBA purgatory where they were 7, 8 seed or very, very low lottery or high lottery picks. As a Sixers fan, I am glad to whore myself out to bring LeBron James to have a legitimate, for the first time since I have been watching the Sixers, a legitimate. Yes, we knew that that 01 Iverson team had a legitimate shot to make it to the finals. We have a legitimate shot to win an NBA championship for the first time in my fandom as a Sixers fan. And if this is Lucy with the ultimate taking the football from me, sign me up every single time. Lucy, I'm kicking that damn football right now. But again, I will whore my fandom out to LeBron James in order to win a championship. So he's here. He's here. And all of a sudden, the Sixers. And I mean, I think if you're an Eagle, if you're Jalen Hurts, for instance, you're probably loving this because yes, the Eagles are number one in this town, but it's going to take a lot of the attention and probably a lot of the pressure off of them, which bodes well for the Eagles as well. But what a time to be a Philly fan. LeBron James signs with the Sixers, legitimate championship contenders. And like I said, I'll be glad to whore myself out for LeBron James if it means I'm going to a parade next June down Ben Franklin Parkway, Broad Street, whatever. But I will get myself on that bus somehow. I don't know, making that up. But go enjoy your weekend. This is like I said, this is the biggest feel good Friday that we've ever had, the feel goodest Friday of all time. So go enjoy your weekend. I'm Jim Montgomery. This is, I don't even know what to call this day in Philly sports history special news report. Whatever it is, go have yourselves a good weekend. Be safe celebrating LeBron coming to Philly. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.